to Inner Peace Better Health, where we explore the deep connections between our minds, emotions, and the stories we tell ourselves. I'm your host, Saima, and today we are diving into the power of transformative storytelling and heart intelligence. So, how are our personal narratives shape our reality, and how can we rewrite them to lead with authenticity and courage? Joining me is Anna Rosa Parker, a lifestyle mentor and corporate coach who helps change makers embrace the true stories. With a background in the theatrical expression and leadership coaching, she blends storytelling with heart centered intelligence to help people reimagine their futures with clarity and confidence. Anna Rosa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mhm. Now, let's start with this. We all have a story we want to tell ourselves about who we are. So, how do our personal narratives shape our lives, and what happens when we challenge them?
When we challenge the stories we're already telling, you mean? Or
Hmm.
okay, so yeah, my belief is that we are carrying some kind of a story that we are telling and we're not fully aware of it. So subconsciously, we're showing up in life with, some limited beliefs and then just a story that is part of our past and based on memory that might not even be correct. And so when I work with people, we work on reframing your narrative, meaning we go into your story and we look at your roots, where you came from, how you grew up, what sort of a role you played in your childhood, just sort of establish what your roots are. And then we dive into your values to see what you believe in, what was the belief system in the home you grew up in, and have you shifted your values and beliefs? And we look into what your goals are and your dreams. And there's often a huge disconnect between those two. Often people have very realistic goals, and the dream is very shiny and far away. So um, we look at merging that, and then we talk about your knowledge, traditional knowledge as an education, and then some kind of a superpower you might have been born with. And then also how you show up, like what your image is. So once people have all these elements together, they've rewritten their story of today, where you are like today. And with that, we can sort of um, remove certain limited beliefs. We understand where we are. We understand where we want to go, and it just frees us up a little bit. We stop carrying certain burden that we might have been carrying all along without being aware of it. And awareness is huge in all this. And then to look into the future, then we map your future. We do a story mapping for your future. And then you're more aware of where you're going, how you're showing up. And through all this, I have people activate their heart to become coherent in their heart. And we use breathing techniques, where you breathe into the heart and you become still in your heart. Um, and when you do that, you go into stillness and you find some sort of a appreciation or a place of calm, and you start to your brain becomes coherent as well, and your nervous system goes from maybe stress so the nervous system has this two parts of sympathetic nervous system, which is is sort of a fight or flight when you're more stressed and angry or panicky, um, and then the parasympathetic nervous system, which is when you are more calm, and that's the place you should be making your decisions. But with all, hustle in life, often people are making their decisions in a stress mode. And so pausing for a minute and getting coherent in your heart and in your brain, that helps you with your decision making. And right. So now we have sort of looked at your story, we reframed your narrative, and we're bringing in awareness through the heart. And because often in life we might be busy doing something, maybe on an autopilot, whether you're rushing to work, you're taking care of your kids, you're doing whatever you need to do in your life, but you don't really know what's brewing underneath, like what's in your subconsciousness. So being aware of that and checking in throughout the day is a key to stay in this sort of a coherency. Um, and then we map your future, and now we look at the things, like we did the narrative. We take the narrative and we go from there. So now it's more of a true narrative to you. It's not, maybe you have let go of certain things that you thought were in your narrative, but it's not. And now you're more free to plan your future, and with the coherency and awareness, and you are now more able to remove some limiting beliefs, and you story map your future, whether you are a person, you are a team in a business, but it's a freer flow to move forward in that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, can you share a common limiting story people hold on to that keeps them from living authentically?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Mm-hmm. Can you share a common limiting story people hold on to that keeps them from living authentically?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, People have limiting beliefs such as they do not believe they are worthy of success or of love. They might not be clear about that they might not phrase it as I'm not worthy of, but people might sabotage themselves in a way to get in their own way, to live in sort of a loop pattern. You kind of have some sort of a reset, and you're going to start to work on your career and everything is going well. And then you kind of create this block for yourself, or you just decide to not show up, or these are very kind of, hindering patterns that we often do to ourselves, because we believe, like, we might not believe we're worthy of the good thing, the success or the love or, the job, whatever it is. So we're often getting in our own way, and that's a very common one. And then people also might have limited beliefs based on where they came from. They base their belief system on their past and their roots. And that's why I like to look at all that, to show that it doesn't really matter where you come from. If you can reset your belief system, you can move forward and out of where you came from, where you might have grown up with a lot of limited beliefs, such as success is only for certain people, and stuff like that. Right. So we can always reset. And this framework that I use is a really good way to reset and start to remove some of these limiting beliefs, because we shouldn't really have any limits. And then therefore we shouldn't believe that we have limits, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's actually so powerful that, sometimes the biggest transformation comes from simply realizing we can rewrite the script, right?
Yeah, it really is. And being aware is always the key. And if we are paying attention to and taking accountability for not just our actions, but our feelings and our thoughts. And like I said earlier, sometimes something is brewing underneath, meaning you're thinking about something and you're not aware of it. And practicing this heart coherency helps you be more aware, and you reset your brain as well. Your brain might be stuck in the past behaviors, or stuck in some kind of a limiting beliefs, but through the heart you can sort of rewire that pattern. And what I think is really important is every day, like when you start your day, to have some sort of a morning ritual. That can be, for example, what I do is I start by writing a page in my journal. This is after I, brush teeth and so on. But I write a page in my journal, and then I do some hard coherence. I get a coherent, so I calibrate. I sit still and I breathe into my heart, and I find stillness in my heart, and I find positive feelings and some sort of a fuzziness to reset. And I do that for, you don't have to do it for more than 3 minutes, but I do up to like 10 minutes or so. And then I take a few minutes practicing language. I'm studying French, and that also activates different parts of my brain. So whatever it is, but once you wake up after the sleep, instead of just rushing to your phone or hit the ground running, you can wake up, set the alarm before your kid, if you have children, before they wake up, to get that time. So you are in your driver's seat in your day. Like life is not just dragging you along. You are mindful of where you're going. You have awareness. You're breathing into your heart. You're finding like your mission of the day could be just to feel good, whatever that means to you in whatever situation.
That was remarkable. Now, you talk about heart intelligence in your work, right? So, what is it and how does it guide us toward better decision making?
Yeah, that's the self-regulation that I was, talking about. So if you are basically you're improving the communication between the heart and your brain, you get a better control over your emotions and behaviors. And doing that, you do this heart exercise that I mentioned. And that's how you increase self-awareness, for example. And it helps you respond more effectively in life to challenges, to stress, to making um, better decisions. Um, and there's an institution called HeartMath Institute, and I studied with them about the intelligence of the heart. They have various courses and very active. They've been around for 35 years, so they have a incredible research behind them. And so focusing on like your heart through these techniques, like the heart coherence, you actually change your brain like structure and function. And so that's how you manage your emotions more and clearly because it gives you that awareness. And how I do it in my work, we do this exercise to bring awareness to where you are in your story and your decision making. And it can be very simple. It's just about remembering to do it. And you could do this in the morning, middle of the day. You know, I try to do it 3, 4 times a day at least. And just, if I'm on the subway, anytime I feel like stress ooze over me, I sort of just find my heart and I start to breathe into it slower and deeper than normally would. Try to find stillness, appreciation, kindness, anything that is positive, and it finds your coherency. You sort of calibrate, so you are controlling how you feel.
So, how do we distinguish between a heart led decision and one, influenced by fear or external expectations?
So when you are basing your decisions from internally from your heart, you're looking within, and I believe then you are connected to your divinity or your intelligence. It is more of a original voice that you are thinking and feeling with, um, versus if you are mimicking what's around you externally, it's not your original ideas or response. And but what often happens is that we might be fully coherent, doing really well, counting, trusting our internal voice, making decisions that way, and then something boom happens in life that is external. You get hurt, you get disappointed, somebody is annoying you, something that takes you off your balance, right? And if you're not resetting or retuning into your internal voice, you might just sort of be living with everything externally. So you're sort of mimicking everything in a way. And that's when you are also in, most likely in the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight. And that's a stress mode. And that's often very external sort of a living when people are, it's a very hustle sort of environment. And you are, for example, I live in New York City. And if I was going to base all my decision in living just what's around me, it wouldn't be very healthy living. So I, constantly have to go in and check in with myself, reset, and get coherent again. Because when you are going internally, that's your voice, that's your source, it's your divinity, whatever you want to call that. And everything, if you also when you're responding, just like responding what comes to you, without checking in with yourself first. If you just like, you rush to respond to external whatever comes to you, communication, work, stress, somebody hurts you in any way. But it's always about having that awareness, finding your awareness, going back inside and making your decision that way.
It's really incredible how much wisdom our hearts hold if, only we had the time to listen it, right?
Yeah, it is incredible. And also what I didn't know before is that the heart has so much intelligence, it actually sends more information to the brain than the brain does to the heart. So we have to start to listen to our heart. It is not just a muscle that pumps blood. It's our access to everything and through this. So okay, so let's say you are sort of you're reframing your narrative. You're in a, decent place. You want to start to live more mindfully, aware, heart coherency. Uh, and you do that for a little while, but it doesn't take much for us to sort of go back to our old pattern. So it's our focus should be on the consistency of our awareness. And once you are living in that coherent um, heart, your energy, you vibrate an entirely different energy. So people feel it around you. They might not see it as you walk into the room, but they will feel it if you are in a coherent state or you are in that more of a fight or flight. And they might not be listening. They might be just looking and not really seeing you. But once they're back into their heart, they will understand on a deeper level. And that's a different connection you make with people. And we will have entirely different energy and therefore attract that sort of energy as well. If you believe that we attract some sort of a similar thing we are giving, then we should really focus on our energy and the vibration we're giving out. And that we can do on our own through this exercise, through activating the hearts and being coherent. Just always having that awareness.
Mm-hmm. Now, storytelling is often seen as something for writers and performers, but you use it as a tool for transformation, and that's really remarkable. So, how can anyone use storytelling to shift their perspective and life?
Yeah, that's so like I said, in the beginning, if you sort of just start to look at your story and you can just sit down and write your story. Where did you come from? What do you want? What are you offering to the world? What's your knowledge? What's your mission? Where do you want to go? How do you show up? You write these questions. You answer these questions. Um, and then you start to see, there might be some blocks. Certain questions are hard to answer, or you see something or start to realize that, wait a minute, I've been carrying this idea in my head and it's not even true. I don't need to carry this anymore. So you start to remove some limits and limiting beliefs, when you just become truthful to your narrative. And it doesn't really matter what your narrative is, because it is where you are right now. It just gives you sort of a pure, authentic slate to start planning your future. And then you start to map your future to where you're going. You can plan that. You can plan, your goals and your dreams. They can be a certain distant, and then you have certain steps you want to take to get there. Or you can plan it like it was your own film, like if your life was a film, and you're setting something into emotion, and then it might be becoming some sort of a block or antagonist, and then what's your strength to overcome blocks and antagonists, and then you write down your strength and your skills and where you have opportunity for growth. But it's really it helps you be more aware of where you are in your life and where you want to go. Time goes really fast if we're not paying attention. So being more mindful of our story, we have so much more choice than we give ourselves credit for. And so you just embark on this journey of like reshaping your personal history and into a narrative that gives you some sort of empowering um, process. And it just helps you transform to align with your true potential. You start to step more into your authentic self. And there's a lot of healing in authenticity. And when you are reframing your narrative with some sort of a story mapping, it will also serve as your inner compass. So you can make more meaningful changes in your life and in the world. You start to see where there are maybe lacks and where you can add more. Are you giving, also back, or are you taking? Or you're only giving and not giving anything back? Then let's look at that. What's going on there? So it's really a powerful tool to just understand our behaviors, and again to start every day with a new slate, not to live your past story. A new day is a new page in your story. So you're actively rewriting your story as you transform your life and continue to embrace your authentic self.
That's amazing. That we can change our stories when we change our reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Really.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
absolutely, I agree with that. This has been an eye opening conversation, Anna. The way you tell our stories shape our lives, and it's really empowering to know that we hold the pen to rewrite them at any moment. And to all our listeners, if you're feeling stuck in an old narrative, start listening to your heart intelligence. It already knows the way forward. Your story is yours to shape. And connect with Anna Rosa for deeper insights and coaching. Find her at annarosasparker.com. And if this episode inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Let's keep rewriting, reimagining, and leading with authenticity. Until next time, trust your heart, own your story, and live boldly.